Hello, and welcome to Who is the Public, using the Sociocultural Data Report to identify stakeholders. I'm Rusty Ennemoser with the Florida Department of Transportation, and I'm here with Ruth Roaza and Tammy Vrana. Demographic analysis is a technique used to understand the aspects of a population at a given point in time. It's also used to identify the dynamic processes of birth, death, and migration that lead to changes in a population over time. In Florida, we are very aware of the significant influence that migration, both from within the country and outside of the country, can have on population size and demographic composition. And as transportation agencies, we need to know the characteristics of the human populations we serve and impact with our activities. All populations that live in, work in, travel, or have an interest in the study area are our stakeholders. They include residents, business owners and patrons, landowners, local government officials, people who work in the area, and people who study in the area. Demographic analysis helps us find and know who is present in the community, including all these people. We can also learn about special concern populations that are addressed in Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and other non-discrimination laws. We can learn who our project or our plan affects. We can identify group leaders and community contacts and figure out who can affect our project and plan. So why do we need to know all of this? Well, it's good to understand who might affect and be affected by our plan, project, or activity, and we can't know that unless we know who they are. Knowing who they are helps us build the public involvement plan or any other kind of communications plan that we want to develop. We can understand the best way to communicate with our affected or interested populations. And we can also learn how to avoid, minimize, or mitigate potential disproportionate impacts on low-income and minority populations. So what is it that we need to know, and why? Here are some of the things that we can learn about a community from census and other data to write our community awareness or our public involvement plan, to understand what human environment issues might arise in our project area. For instance, race and ethnicity helps us comply with Title VI and ensure participation by non-traditional stakeholders. Age helps us understand whether we have a significantly older group in our project area that might need earlier meeting times, or are they college students who might need a different type of outreach altogether. We can also learn about accommodations for people with disabilities, educational attainment, English proficiency, income levels, housing types and values, and vehicle availability and transit dependency. At Florida DOT, we use a three-pronged approach to understanding our communities. Generally, we start with a desktop review of socioeconomic and GIS data. The largest source of data available is the U.S. Census. In addition, most cities and counties have GIS data available that is more detailed than the census and can be queried on a variety of topics. You could even use Google Earth or something similar to get a visual idea of what the area is like. You can also learn a lot by driving through your project area. What are the neighborhoods like? Are there neighborhoods? What are the grocery stores like? Do you see Publix or Whole Foods, or do you see the IGA? Are they locally owned? What about restaurants? Are they chains or are they locally owned? What is the landscaping like? Get out of your office and visit the community and use site visits to help verify or update GIS data and to identify features not captured in existing data. And be on the street. Speak with local planners, leaders, residents, and community groups to verify the data that you've pulled. As I mentioned, the primary source of data for demographic analysis is the U.S. Census Bureau. It provides two key demographic data products, the census and the American Community Survey. The census is a historic snapshot of our country that is conducted every 10 years. It provides counts on basic population characteristics of all geographic levels of the census across the U.S. and Puerto Rico. The other Census Bureau data product used heavily for demographic analysis is the American Community Survey. The ACS provides demographic data throughout the decade in the time between the 10-year censuses. The ACS data is based on random sampling from approximately 250,000 addresses each month across the country and Puerto Rico. It provides information about how people live. In some cases, the census data can be unreliable for accurately portraying the character of a community. And keep in mind that the census is based on self-reported data. It is prone to undercounting if persons completing the questionnaire are reluctant to divulge personal or household information. And for smaller geographic areas, census data is not always certain. And the census data doesn't tell us about the character of people coming into the community each day for work or other activities. Therefore, our three-pronged approach comes in handy to triangulate the information that we're getting. Florida DOT now has a great tool to help you determine the demographic makeup of your project or plan area, the Sociocultural Data Report. This report provides statistics and trends from the U.S. Census Bureau's decennial census and the most recent American Community Survey. It also lists land use classifications and community facilities within a geographic area. The census data is reported for 1990, 2000, 2010, and the American Community Survey, the most recent, is 2014. The Sociocultural Data Report is available on the Environmental Screening Tool, an internet application that FDOT uses to publish project information and gather comments from our stakeholders. The previous screen capture showed the page on our public site, option 1. This allows you to review the sociocultural data that's out there for projects, communities, and counties to gain an understanding of the people, land use, and community facilities. On the secure site, option 2, you're able to draw your own area of interest on the map to extract information about a community or a study area. Today, we'll be showing you how to find a sociocultural data report on the public internet site. This is open to anyone. Here is a simple step-by-step page for your reference, and I'm going to hand the controls over to Ruth Roaza now to demonstrate these steps on the website.
Thanks, Rusty. So the first step is finding the report on the internet. And the easiest way to find it is from our sociocultural effects evaluation website on the DOT internet. And the link is right here on this page. I'm going to click on this link and it will bring up the page. It's found under the Environmental Management Office on the FDOT internet. You'll notice the link down here at the bottom, Sociocultural Data Report. You can click either on the words or the picture. When you click on it, it will bring you directly to the SDR report on the website. If you start exploring the site and get off the page, you can get back to it by following the links under the Project Information menu. You open Project Information, go to Surrounding Resources, and you'll see the Sociocultural Data Report link right there. While many of our users are interested in project-specific sociocultural data, you may be more interested in some of the other options. We have 4 options here that you can see: user-defined communities, census places, county demographics, and the current project alternatives if you have a project selected already. I'll show you that in a little while. The user-defined communities are communities that our DOT project teams have added to the database to help with a project's environmental study. We don't actually have very many of them in the database because the U.S. Census provides the boundaries for a lot of places already. These census places are both incorporated places like towns and villages in other named communities that are locally known but may not be legally recognized. And then our county profiles are also helpful for MPOs and counties during the transportation planning process. I'm going to show you how to find a census place SDR. So I click on Census Place, and then I narrow down my location using these pull-down menus. First, I select a county. I'm going to select Gadsden, and then the list updates to show which census places are available for that county, and I'm going to pick Quincy. Then I click on the Generate Sociocultural Data Report to pull up the report. This sometimes takes a few minutes just because it's crunching the data, pulling up maps, and bringing it over to the screen. Once it's up, you can scroll down through it for the information, or you can click PDF to open a PDF version of the report that can be saved or printed. I'm going to pull up that PDF report because it's a little bit easier to see in the video. And I also have Tammy with me, who is going to help go through the data to provide a better understanding in the context of transportation planning and project development. Tammy?
Thank you, Ruth. The first thing I'll point out about the Sociocultural Data Report is the variety of ways that the information is presented. In addition to the tabular format that you see on the left, are a variety of charts and graphs that help us understand the information better at a glance. At the top of the report, we can see the location that is addressed in the Sociocultural Data Report. In this case, it's the city of Quincy. The first table on the page contains information about general population trends. The information shown is from the 1990, 2000, and 2010 decennial censuses, as well as the latest American Community Survey 5-year estimates. The table data includes the total population and total households in the SDR area. The graph to the right visually shows the changes in the total population over the 4 census timeframes. The average persons per acre, persons per household, and persons per family are provided, as well as the population of males and females in the area. Race and ethnicity trend data is included in the table below. Shown is the population by race, including single races alone, and a category for 2 or more reported races. The next 2 rows are devoted to populations described as Hispanic or Latino of any race, and non-Hispanic or Latino. Be aware that the Hispanic or Latino category was included as a race category in the 1990 census. Starting with the 2000 census, the Hispanic or Latino population is reported as an ethnicity, and persons in this group can be of any race. The last row on this table is minority. This includes all race categories except white alone, and also includes Hispanic or Latino of any race. This data is an important indicator as to the presence of environmental justice populations. In the bar chart at the bottom of the page is a comparison of the minority population in the SDR area and the countywide minority population. Page 2 of the SDR starts with age data over the 4 reporting timeframes. Knowing about the age distribution of the population gives us an indication of how many people may have limited transportation options because of age-related abilities. In the table, the data is broken down into a long list of age cohorts and is aggregated into 3 categories in the bar chart at top right. The categories are under age 18, age 18 to 64, and age 65 and over. The age trends table also shows the changes in the median age over the period and in comparison to the countywide data in the bar chart at bottom right. Next on the page is data about income trends. This information includes median income figures for households and families, the percentage below poverty level for both individuals and households, and the percentage of households reporting receipt of public assistance income. Median household income is a measure used to identify low-income populations. Moving across the page to the bottom right, the 2 charts show the income data graphically. The final table on this page shows disability trends. In 1990 and 2000, the data collected for persons with a disability included those between the ages of 16 to 64. Disability information was not reported for the 2010 census, but is now being reported in the American Community Survey data for the population aged 20 to 64. Page 3 of the report starts out with educational attainment trends for the population aged 25 and over. The data categories are less than 9th grade, 9th to 12th grade, no diploma, high school graduate or higher, and bachelor's degree or higher. The level of formal education in a community is an indicator of literacy. If we suspect from the data that low literacy could be an issue, we would use that information in developing the project public involvement plan. The ability to speak English less than very well for the population age 5 and over is reported in the middle table. Persons falling under this description are considered to have limited English proficiency. The way the Census Bureau tabulated the data was changed for the 2000 census. Previously, there were two categories, speaks English well and speaks English not well or not at all. Since 2000, speaks English not well or not at all are separated. This data is used to start the discussion as to whether project information should be provided in the predominant non-English languages spoken in the project area. At the bottom left of page 3, the table provides a range of information about housing in the SDR area. The housing data tells us a bit about how people live, as well as about income and economic conditions in the area. The table starts out with the total number of units and the average number of units per acre. The data tells us about the allocation of units among 3 housing types, single-family units, multifamily units, and mobile homes. Data about the tenure of occupied units is included in the table and in the bar chart at the top right of the page. Renter-occupied units are shown in red, and owner-occupied units are shown in blue. The bar chart below corresponds to the median housing value presented in the table. In this case, it shows a comparison to the county-wide information. The last chart on page 3 shows the number of occupied units with no vehicle available. The chart corresponds to data in the Housing Trends table and provides a comparison to the county-wide data. This data provides an indication of the transportation disadvantaged population. The table and pie chart on this page describe existing land uses in the SDR area. The information includes generalized land use data from the Florida Department of Revenue. Land uses are shown by the number of acres and as a percentage of the SDR area. From the pie chart, we can quickly pinpoint that there are 3 predominant land uses in the area: residential, public semi-public, and agricultural. The bottom of this page is devoted to location maps. On the left is a map of the SDR area. The map to the right shows the SDR area in the context of the regional roadway network. The report includes a useful listing of a variety of community facilities and other community focal points. This information can help you identify community resources for an SCE evaluation, get a better understanding of the public that these facilities serve, and identify potential public meeting locations. The census block groups that are located within the SDR area or intersect the area are identified on this page. The SDR data sources and estimation methods are identified in the report. Including the metadata. And finally, every SDR includes a county demographic profile for the county or counties applicable to the SDR. Now I'll turn it back to you, Ruth.
Okay, thanks, Tammy. The last thing I wanted to show you was if you did want to find an SDR for a project, the first thing you need to do is search for a project. And if you don't have a project that's already selected, you actually won't even see this option over here. So in order to use this option, you first select a project. For example, if I wanted to search for a project by name, I can type in part of the name and it comes up, starts coming up with a list of things that match, and I pick my project and the report updates, and then if you didn't see it before, you'll now see the current project alternatives. I select that and a pull down list updates to list the alternatives that are being considered for that project. I can look at the current data, or I can go back and see previously published versions of that SDR. I click Generate Sociocultural Data Report, and it comes up. It will look exactly the same as the report that was provided for the census place. The only difference is that the data is extracted from the database within 500 feet of the project alternative instead of using that census place boundary. So that is how to find the SDR. To summarize, back to this chart, there's 4 basic steps. Go to the Sociocultural Data Report by following the link. Choose your area type. Click on the drop-down box to narrow down your location and click on the Generate Sociocultural Data Report button to bring it up. And then 4, click on the PDF button to print and save. So Rusty, now it's back to you.
Thank you, Tammy and Ruth, for showing us the Sociocultural Data Report. We'd also like you to visit our website. The address is shown at the bottom of this slide. On the Sociocultural Evaluation Process website, you'll find a lot of information, including a link at the bottom to the Sociocultural Data Report. We have 14 videos about all aspects of doing a sociocultural evaluation. And there are also PDFs that you can print out and will help you as you identify who your community stakeholders are. So with that, thank you very much for joining us and hope to hear from you soon.